Tonight we got a crossover event. We have Gerson and Tim from the DFS show joining me and Ryan tonight. We're going to talk DFS and season long at the same time, so stay tuned.
Fantasy football, you dealing with the best. Keep it hype, authentic, this ain't nothing like the rest. With the Armchair Fantasy Show podcast, give advice for all the listeners to improve your stats. Yeah, we live on goingfor2.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, this is what you want. Talking dynasties and daily drafts, and we just getting started, that ain't even the half. Yeah, so go ahead, tell your friends to join. Going for two, cause no one remembers the extra point. Ayy, goingfor2.com, the Armchair Fantasy Show.
Going on, guys. All right, welcome to episode 121 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We're here usually every Tuesday and Friday night. We will not have our Friday night show this week because of Black Friday. Unfortunately, I have to work. But we're usually every Tuesday and Friday on Periscope Live. Periscope, Facebook Live, and YouTube. And, of course, in the Going For Two app and all your major podcast networks. I'm here with all of my co-hosts tonight. So first up, we got Ryan, man, my usual Tuesday night co-host. How you doing tonight, man?
Fantastic, man. Just seen a record-breaking performance and ready to beat your Niners this week.
We shall see. We shall see. Also joining us tonight from the DFS show, Tim Strobel. How you doing tonight, man?
Well, Ryan, I wish your team better luck than mine because my team got their ass whooped on Sunday night, so that was rough.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to breaking down this slate, though, man. Thanksgiving slate's one of my favorite slates of the year. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there listening.
Agreed. Yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up, Tim. I didn't want to hurt you too bad. I let you bring it up that that we kind of just ran all over you. My wife went to bed early.
You're a better guy than me.
Yeah, it was rough. My brother was texting me the whole time. He's like, I don't want to rub it in too much, but damn. I'm like, yeah, I know. It
was pretty bad. Also, make the reason that we're late tonight by a few minutes, Mr. Gerson. How you doing tonight, Gerson?
That's the best way to introduce me, huh? Well, from now on, I'm going to call out Jeff for all the other time. No, I'm just kidding. Doing good, man. I had a long day, work and all this, but overall, I love Thanksgiving slate because the one slate that nobody can tell me I'm going to play cash game.
Yeah.
If you do, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, don't play cash.
I'm excited. It's GPP. I mean, last week was a GPP slate too.
Yep, good point.
And by the way, Ryan, Lamar Jackson is a god.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, he was pretty sick. He's definitely showing out. That's for sure.
I did not expect this week to go the way it did.
Yeah, that was honestly. Same with my team, man. I didn't think we would shut the Packers down like we did either. I thought for sure Rodgers would eventually get going, but it just never happened for them.
And I thought both of those things coming. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, Gerson's a god. He knows all. All right, guys, we have a jam-packed show today as usual. Let's go ahead and get into the news and notes.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, Ryan, we'll go to you on this first note here. James Conner expected to be out a little longer than expected. We saw a couple guys get carries last week. Obviously, I think Bank Snow got the bulk of the work, but Samuels was barely involved, but he did get some touches. And then there's some other guy I didn't even know they even had in the team, some guy named White. What are you doing with this backfield?
Yeah,
what are you doing with this backfield in fantasy right now? Are you touching anybody in this backfield?
I don't mind Benny Snell. I think he's a talented back. I liked him coming out. I mean, his 40 time was absurdly slow, but 40 times doesn't really matter. But he's a decent back. He's very similar back to James Conner, so if he's in, he's going to get volume. I think this game has a huge impact on what we see out of Conner for the rest of the year. If they win, chances are to see him come back. If they don't, why risk it? They're out of the playoffs. Why not get that surgery? So I think it's a lot for his season to ride on this game.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Tim, we'll go to you for the next note here. With Stafford, likely out, he's doubtful. Driscoll actually is now questionable as well. We might have a quarterback by the name of David Blah, or I don't even know how you pronounce his name, but he might be starting for the Lions this week. What do you think of the impact is with Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones? Are you able to start any of these guys in the last week of the preseason or last week of the regular season?
It's a no for me. I mean, whether it's DFS or fantasy season long, I'm pretty much doing a full fade on the Lions if Driscoll doesn't play. The only person I'm considering, and this is only for DFS purposes, would be Logan Thomas. We'll get to that later. That's also because T.J. Hawkinson, which I think you may mention, he's also limited. So we'll see whether or not he plays. But, yeah, I don't really have any confidence in any Lions right now if Driscoll doesn't play.
Yeah, I've got Galladay in my Dynasty League. He's my wide receiver 3. And I'm going to be benching him this week. And I got to choose between Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, and who's my other one? Oh, Darius Slayton. I got to pick a guy from those 3. So I'm going to flip a coin and hope that one of them hits. All right, Gerson, let's go to you for this other note here with the another quarterback note. Andy Dalton is back to starting for the Bengals. What's the impact on this offense? Do we just plug Tyler Boyd back in and just roll with him?
I mean, you can play him. Gonna make the offense better. I think Andy Dalton's average to me, but I mean he's a startable quarterback. I mean I'm not gonna start him in season long, but they'll bring up the value. Actually, they're playing the New York Jets, so yeah, he's startable this week. I lied. But overall, I mean, he was doing good during the season. He had 21 points, 14, 18, 18, 22, 25. I mean, overall, those are some pretty good quarterback one numbers, you know. So, yeah, he's startable this week for the New York Jets. I mean, are they still missing C.J. Mosley?
Yeah, he might go to IR still.
Yeah, so if he goes on IR, I mean, overall, last week I watched the Raiders with Jets. I wasn't very happy. I mean, I was pissed, actually.
At least we had that in common.
It was embarrassing, even worse, because I was at B-Dub. In case you all don't know what B-Dub is, it's Buffalo Wild Wings. But I was there with the whole league. We do a league giving, so like the whole fantasy football league, my home league. We go there and watch it, and everybody's like, "Hey, what's going on with the Raiders?" I'm like, I wish I could tell you.
That's the worst.
Hey Jeff, I want to say I appreciate that you did not go to me for Andy Dalton. Good looking out there, bro.
Good call. Yeah, I know Gerson likes to call you Andy Dalton all the time on the show.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll actually be coming up later on the show.
Yeah, exactly. We have somebody else that's going to be on the show as well. That's a doppelganger for Tim as well. All right, Ryan, we'll go back.
Kid from A Christmas Story.
Everyone's got jokes tonight.
I love it.
Hey, Ryan, so we're going to you for this next one. I know you weren't a big Rashad Penny fan coming in to his rookie season. He finally has his big breakout game now, and there's word that they might split carries now, Carson and Penny. What are you doing if you're a Carson owner, and what are you doing if you're a Penny owner?
I think it's just a hold either way. You can't really do much with them. I think they're going to play the hot hand going on it. Carson's been great. It's just the fumbles that have just destroyed him this year. I think Carroll likes him. I think he's going to start with him, and you're still going to need something bad to happen for Penny to come in. So I'm not fully confident on him yet, but it's a wait and see. He's somebody I'm stashing if I have him, though.
Let me give you a hypothetical question. Let's say you own both Carson and Penny, and you have to win this week to get into the playoffs. Which one are you starting?
Carson.
Carson. All right, still going Carson. Good stuff. All right, just two quick notes here before we get to the pick'ems and then the Thanksgiving games. Golden Tate is in the concussion protocol. We've seen from the Giants before when one of these receivers are out, the other two kind of step up a little bit. So Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, are they startable this week, you think, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're going to have to obviously monitor it. I also saw that Evan Ingram is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm obviously hoping that he gets back. I have him in season long, and I do need to win this week. I've been streaming tight ends the last couple of weeks while he's been out. So Green Bay is obviously terrible against tight ends. So that would obviously be a huge play. I really like him a lot. Obviously, I'm going to play him either way if he starts. But I think he probably sees a huge impact if Golden Tate is out, if he'll get a lot of those plays. But I really like Slayton as well. If Tate doesn't play.
Yeah, I think I've had bad luck this season. Anytime I've started anybody but Kenny Galladay in my lineup, the guy that I don't start goes off. So I started Robbie Anderson the week that Darius Slayton went off. And then I started Darius Slayton the week that Robbie Anderson goes off, so I'm like, I just can't get it right.
Wait, he was your stick call in GFS and you didn't.
And I didn't start him. Nope, I did not start him.
I think that's on you, Jeff.
Yeah, that's definitely on me. That was definitely on me. All right, Gerson, we'll go to you for the last one here. Eric Ebron goes to IR. What does that do for Jack Doyle's value in season long?
In season long, it brings it up, obviously. But, I mean, still, the tight end landscape is like a hellhole. There's only, top 4 tight ends that you really want. And then the rest of them, you just stream them.
Yep.
This week he plays Tennessee. It's a good matchup. So, yeah, you can stream him. Jack Doyle.
Yeah. What about the other guy, Mo Alley Cox? You think he finally gets some reps?
Yeah, but it's not going to be like he's going to take. Jack Doyle is just a better tight end overall.
Agreed.
I remember when what's his name? Ebron got hurt last year too, I believe, and Doyle was healthy, and Mo Alley Cox came in. He actually got a couple touches, but it'll be like 80-20.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I think Mo Alley Cox might be there in the red zone packages there because he is like a huge guy. He's like 6'5", 240.
Huge.
Yeah, so I think he might be in red zone packages. So if you're in a touchdown only league, or if you just need a tight end just to plug in there, you have nobody. If you have Evan Ingram, for example, you can look at Mo Alley Cox as a high upside guy but low floor.
I don't know. I don't even know if I would play him as a streaming tight end.
Yeah, no, you'd be very desperate. I know there's some 16-team leagues out there. I know my 16-team league, if you need to stream a tight end this week, you're SOL because there ain't nothing out there.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, I forgot to get the pick'em updates. You don't happen to have it there, do you?
I will. I can in a second. Give us the first game. I'll give you the update when.
All right,
we're there.
Sounds good.
I just know I'm up big.
All right, so let's go ahead and get
Real
into the game previews here.
This week's game-by-game previews.
All right, for those of y'all that watch the DFS show, typically we go position by position, but with just 3 games on the Thanksgiving slate tonight, we're just going to go game by game like we do for the season long. So we'll kick it off here with the Bears at the Lions. And Gerson, we'll go to you first. What are you looking for in this game here? What kind of plays are you looking for in this game?
Well, in this game right now, it's just I don't want too much exposure to this game, honestly. I think, if anything, I'll have very little exposure to certain maybe the running back position, but the quarterback position, I don't know, man. I don't have the ball to play. I have the ball to play a lot of quarterback, trust me. But if your name is Jeff Briscoe with an injury on your injury tag on you, and Mitchell Trubisky, and you mentioned the backup quarterback, I already forgot his name. So yeah, I don't even think. I honestly don't think Trubisky's even healthy. So I'm really not going to play him. I'm going to go with the other four quarterback on this slate.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a very low total here. We got, 38.5 right now. I think Chicago is favored by 3. This is not a game you're really going to be looking at for a lot of high upside scoring plays. What about you, Tim? Are you looking at anybody in this game?
Well, I think my favorite play, which Gerson kind of alluded to, is the Bears defense. I think they're going to be my favorite DFS play in this game. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to them. But yeah, for the most part, it's a fade for me. One thing we didn't mention, I don't think, is that Taylor Gabriel may miss this game. I think he's probably likely to miss this game. So if that happens, I think that Riley Ridley may play a little bit more. But if I'm going to play a receiver on the Bears, it's going to be Anthony Miller. I do think I like Trubisky a little bit more than Gerson does. But, he's going to be pretty low allocation for me. But I think that, I want a little bit of exposure. But I think my favorite plays in this game are Tariq Cohen and the Bears D. I did mention earlier if David Blau or whatever does play, and T.J. Hawkinson sit, then I kind of like Logan Thomas. So we'll obviously talk about this throughout the show, but the tight end slate is just absolutely terrible this week. And so I think he'll come in at pretty low ownership, and he's obviously cheap. So that's probably the only other guy I would mention, but that would also be very low allocation. But yeah, I agree with Gerson. For the most part, this game, just pick a couple guys, throw a couple darts, and skip on to the net.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're going to find value in this game as far as, some of those low guys. Like you mentioned, Anthony Miller's a pretty popular pick. He's very cheap, so I think he's definitely in play for sure. But yeah, I think that this game is the low total game on a game where you've got like the Saints and Falcons playing. It's going to be tough to play a lot of players from this game unless you're going super contrarian and looking for that one-off kind of game where these guys put up a ton of points, but I just don't see it happening.
I would say I would play Allen Robinson, but that price of $6,700 is a lot for me to pay up.
Yep.
Especially when you have guys like Ridley at $6,600.
Yeah.
I don't mind Montgomery, but he can be. You obviously, you can't there's no chance in hell you can fit Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott in the same lineup. So you're gonna have to play some of these other running backs. But I don't mind David Montgomery. I think he's been very inconsistent. But last 3 games, he doesn't even have a combine of 18 points combined for fantasy. Overall, he's still getting the workload though. But I like Tariq Cohen Cole because he always eats up against them. I mean, 13 points, 18 points, 16 points. He does very well. But overall, Montgomery, I think, can be either a running back 2 over there, When I say running back 2, I mean on your slot on your DraftKings roster, your FanDuel roster. But I think this slate for running back is pretty solid.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
And I will say, definitely, because I know some people played him over the weekend, do not play Bo Scarborough. I know I said that last time. Definitely don't play him in this spot. It's a terrible spot. I know you're thinking, I'm going to save a few hundred over Tariq Cohen. No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
He's got no upside in this game.
Absolutely none. You're right. You're absolutely right. Hey, Ryan, is there anything in this game from a season-long perspective that you wanted to talk about or no?
Not that you guys really haven't hit already. Kind of hit almost every player in it. So no, we're good on that. We can make our picks.
All right, let's go ahead and pick it then, Ryan. What you got for this game?
I'm picking Chicago, and our score, I am up 105-94.
Ugh, God, it kills me. Okay. All right, so you got the Bears. Is anybody not going Bears? Let's do it the quick way. I didn't think so. We all got the Bears. All right, sweep it. Let's go on to the game that's a little bit more interesting. The Bills at the Cowboys, and Tim will go you this first time. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, this over-under is much more enticing at 44.5. 2 of my favorite plays on the slate are both in this game. It kills me that they're both on the Cowboys, but it is what it is, man. It's Dak and Zeke. They're probably going to be my highest exposure players. They're also pretty chalky. Gerson mentioned that earlier. I think Zeke's going to be pretty much the chalk running back option in this on this slate. So, yeah, Dak is a little bit underpriced, in my opinion, at $5,700 on DraftKings. I think he's going to be popular and for good reason. And then Zeke, I think, is actually, priced appropriately. I think at $7,400. But this is, everybody knows you attack Buffalo on the ground. They're a pretty good pass defense. They're not great against the run. So, especially at home, I think that he gets all the work this game.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Gerson, I got a question for you with the receivers here. What do you think of Michael Gallup as the receiver that's not going to be covered by Tre'Davious White? You like Gallup this week?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, $5,500, that's pretty cheap, for a wide receiver that has upside of getting 120 and a touchdown. We saw what happened last week when Amari Cooper got shut down by, Stephon Gilmore. Yeah. It's almost a twin situation, I mean, Stephon Gilmore and Tre'Davious White. I mean, Tre'Davious White is pretty good, too.
Yep.
So, overall, I mean, Michael Gallup could be that guy that's going to get all the target. He'd had high volume games before. Detroit game, he had 13 for 9. When I say 13 targets for 9 receptions, 148. The game before that against Minnesota, 10 for 4, 76 and a touchdown. We've seen it happen, Amari Cooper has tended to always get shut down by better cornerbacks. He's not one of the elite wide receivers that can beat those elite cornerbacks. But, Michael Gallup definitely a play for me, for sure.
I agree.
I don't think Cooper is 100%, to be honest with you.
No, I don't.
I mean, if we all remember last year, he broke the Thanksgiving slate. So it's really hard for me to recommend Gallup over Amari Cooper. But he has not looked right for a couple games now. And like Gerson said, he has not done well against shadow coverage. So, yeah, I think I like Gallup over Cooper, even though his prices come way down.
What do y'all think of, I know we talked about the tight end slate being pretty terrible. What do you think of Dawson Knox here? I know he didn't have a whole lot of volume last week, but they ran the ball like 38 times. I think he only had 2 targets last week, but this game they may have to throw the ball a little bit more. And Dawson Knox on DraftKings is only 2.9K. What's your thoughts on Dawson Knox, Tim?
Yeah, I like him. I think he's my favorite kind of cheaper option on the slate. Cowboys are just terrible against tight ends. They have been all year. And they do seem to use him in the red zone. I mean, he's not a high-volume tight end like a guy I think we're going to get to on the next slate, where you can consistently pencil in a good number of targets. He may very well see 2-3 targets in this game. But they do seem to look at him near the end zone. He's had a couple of end zone, couple of touchdowns, so far this year. So I think if you're going to be paying down at tight end, he's probably my favorite guy.
All right. Now, this game I think is the toughest one to pick. So, Ryan, I'm going to go to you first here. Go ahead and pick this game. Who do you got, Bills at Cowboys?
Oh, I have one more.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's all good, man. I just, like I alluded to earlier in the game, this is a revenge game for my doppelganger, a.k.a. Cole Beasley. He's been talking mess about the Cowboys all year, how he's so happy to be out of Dallas and how it's so much more fun playing on the Bills and whatever. Obviously the revenge narrative paid off for Jarvis Landry over the weekend. So I know a lot of people are playing John Brown, and I think for good reason. I don't think we mentioned Devin Singletary. He's also, I think, one of the better plays on this slate
Good call.
at running back. So I don't want to skip over Devin Singletary. But for the revenge factor, especially since wide receiver 3 is not real pretty on this slate either, I really like Cole Beasley. So I'll be overweight on the field on Cole Beasley. Let me put it that way.
He didn't even ask me about any of the plays in this game. He just asked me about damn Michael Gallup. I was going to say all the other guys, but...
All right, go ahead, Gerson.
Go for it, G.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely like Devin Singletary. He's my third value. He's basically my highest value running back that's not Alvin Kamara and Ezekiel Elliott. At the wide receiver position, love John Brown this week. This is definitely a John Brown game, I'm telling you guys. Cole Beasley, you stole my sick call of the show, but yeah, for sure. Randall Cobb, don't sleep on him. He could have a big game in this game too. He could be one of those slate breakers. If with Amari Cooper not being healthy in the last 2 games, he's gotten a combined of 36 points. So, and if you go back one more week, he had a 25-point game. So,
Wow.
Overall, you're looking at he's really coming on, getting targeted, and has over I believe he had over 300 yards in the last 3 games.
Wow.
If you really look at it. But Randall Cobb could be one of those slate breakers,
Nice.
But tight end, I love Dawson Knox as a value, but I also love Jason Witten. I can see him being in this game with Amari Cooper getting shadowed by what's his name, Tre'Davious White. I can get Witten getting a lot of targets in this game, being one of those. He always does good on Thanksgiving slate. I swear, man.
Yep, you're right. He does.
He kills it.
Yep.
And so yeah, I like him. Excuse me. The Cowboys are my number 1 value defense. They're coming in at about 7.5 points, but it's just their price $3,000. But if anything, I'm gonna go over the Bears over any defense.
Yep.
But they're a very good value defense in this game.
All right, good stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun there, guys.
Go
ahead.
So you mentioned about Cooper getting shadowed.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Lattimore, 48 yards. Darius Slay, 38 yards. Stephon Gilmore, 0 yards. Josh Norman, 44.
Yeah.
So the games where he got shadowed by top guys, minus the Jair Alexander game, he's been shut down.
Yeah. So that makes me like that Randall Cobb call more.
Yeah.
I can see him coming in a very low ownership. I mean, again, we have to eat crop because this is going to be a slate where he could break it. Amari Cooper last year on Thanksgiving, whew.
Yep.
He had 30,
200 and some yards.
Man.
It was insane. I think he had the highest scoring game of the year for a receiver last year.
Would be amazing if it was his career.
Yeah, it might be his career. You might be right. All right, I didn't mean to jump the gun and skip over everything.
The 180 and 2 touchdowns.
Is that what it was? Yeah, that sounds like it's right. Yep. That's insane. All right, Ryan, let's go ahead and pick this game. Who you got? Bills, Cowboys.
I'm taking the Bills.
I got the Bears.
Yeah. Bills, Cowboys. He has the Bills. Gerson, who do you got for this game?
For this game, I have the Cowboys.
Taking the Cowboys. What you got, Tim?
Yeah.
Cowboys. I'm going Bills, so we're going to split that one. All right, the nightcap game. The Saints at the Falcons. And Gerson, we'll go to you first this time. What are you looking for in this game with this high over-under?
I'm looking to play all the guys, every single guy in this game. No, I'm just kidding. I think the same situation happened last year, right? This was the same game on the night game.
You might be right.
Might be wrong.
I think it was the Saints, but it may not have been Atlanta. Maybe it was somebody else. Go ahead and talk about your plays, and I'll look it up.
Definitely for sure at the tight end position, played Jared Cook.
It
was the same game, huh?
Yep.
Definitely played Jared Cook versus Atlanta. I'm not touching the tight end from Atlanta. I know he got a touchdown last week, but I'd rather have Jared Cook. At wide receiver, I think we're really looking to play most of the guys in this game. From Michael Thomas all the way down to about Ted Ginn Jr. I mean, Julio, Russell Gage, not Russell Cage. Calvin Ridley. But overall, you're going to have to find some really good value to fit all these guys. But Alvin Kamara is definitely up there. You asshole from last week. Supposed to do a lot better. He's breaking my heart, I'm telling you guys. But if there's a game right now that a running back that I really like in this game, it's Latavius Murray. I think he can still have one of those upside games. 5,600, I mean, it gives you a good pivot. But just Alvin Kamara getting all the workload and play the quarterbacks. I mean, it's not. I mean, they're the best quarterback on the slate. I mean, in my opinion, I like Dak a lot, but these two guys, they're to play.
All right, Tim. Anybody else left that we haven't talked about in this game?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go against Gerson a little bit here. I think New Orleans got embarrassed last time they played Atlanta, and so they're going to try and embarrass Atlanta on national TV. So I'm actually kind of down on the Falcons a little bit. I think Matt Ryan, I will have very little exposure. So I like his pass catchers. The one guy Gerson did mention, at least I don't think he did, is Jared Cook, who is projected to be the kind of the chalk tight end on this slate. He had 10 targets against Atlanta the last time they played. I always tell people, basically I've rostered Matt Ryan as my cash single entry quarterback twice this year, and it was the 2 games that he failed. So if I fade Matt Ryan, it's likely he's going to have a good game. So just a shout out for everybody out there. But I agree with all the plays. I love Calvin Ridley in this game. I like Russell Gage for value. I also think because of the fact that I think the Saints are going to try and come out and embarrass the Falcons, I actually like the Saints C as well. But yeah, Breeze is, I think, the highest upside and highest floor quarterback on the slate. And yeah, you got to find a way to play at least one, if not both, of Thomas and Kamara in all of your lineups. I'm a little bit lower on Latavius Murray just because I think that that's kind of a matchup problem for him. But I wouldn't be surprised if they got up big if he got all the carries. So I like that call too.
All right.
But I'm going to be much heavier on New Orleans than I will be Atlanta.
So with the terrible tight ends, do you think Jared Cook is playable, Gerson?
I said he was the first person I mentioned, guys.
I didn't hear that. I heard you mention the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I said Jared Cook is my favorite play in this game. I mean, no, I wouldn't say he's the chalk. I mean, he's gonna be heavily owned, but I still think people are gonna try to pay up elsewhere at other positions. They're not gonna pay up a tight end.
Yeah,
they're gonna pay up at running back. They're gonna pay up at quarterback. They're gonna pay up at wide receiver. I can't see.
What do you think he'll ownership be?
Jared Cook?
Yeah.
21 maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking at least 25 to 30%.
Yeah, this is a 3-game play, so 25% is not going to chalk me, but that's not like chalk on a 3-game play. You know, chalk on a 3-game play is like 40, 50%.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I still like Jason Witten and Dawson Knox over dollar per dollar versus Jared Cook.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that price is kind of steep. I think if you're going contrarian maybe, but yeah, that'd be tough to pay $4,800 for that guy. All right, let's go ahead and pick this game. Ryan, we'll go to you. What do you got for this game? Saints at Falcons.
The Saints. I think they're one of the top teams in football. They're my NFC Super Bowl pick. I think they're fantastic.
All right.
Who would you AFC?
Do I need to say it?
Show us the hat. Show us. Oh, no.
Was the Raven? Are you for real?
He's a Ravens fan. What do you expect?
Whoa, that's pretty ballsy. I still got the Patriots, but
I don't know. Ravens look good, man.
Bill Belichick is 3-5 against teams in the playoffs against teams he lost to in the regular season. So that adjustment stat, adjustment everyone thinks is real, it ain't.
I mean, he got beat by Joe Flacco. I think he can get beat by Lamar Jackson.
Good point. All right, Tim, go ahead and pick this game. Who do you got?
Yeah, it's the Saints for me.
Saints for you. Gerson, who you got?
I'm going to go the other way. Falcons.
You want Falcons in the upset? Okay. Yeah. All right. Nice. I got the Saints here in this one as well. I think the Saints, are upset from losing to them at home just a few weeks ago, so they're going to come out strong and take care of business early on.
Are we the same all three so far, Jeff?
I think we are. Yeah, I went Bears, Bills, Saints. So I think you did as well. So I'm not going to gain any ground.
I can't wait till your avatar comes out.
I'm worried about it, man. I'm still pissed I missed that 1 week, man. It'd be much closer if I hadn't missed that week.
No leverage Lambert. That's what we'll call you.
Yeah. I'm going to have to find some games here pretty soon. All right, guys. I know it's tough to do a sick call on a 3-game slate, but we're going to attempt to do it.
And now, the sick call of the week.
All right, Tim, who is your sick call for this week?
Yeah, I know there's only a $300 price difference, but just by schematically, I like Blake Jarwin more than I like Jason Witten. So I didn't mention him because I was saving him for the end. I think I like Dawson Knox better. Just they're $100 apart. But I like Blake Jarwin. They're using him more down the field. They're also using him in the red zone. And Jason Witten is just not a good matchup here, at least not for me. So I think it's a Blake Jarwin game. And I think he'll come in at much lower ownership.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. Gerson, who do you got for your sick call?
Well, mine would go Beasley, but I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to say Ben Brocknecker, or Winnecker, or whatever. Brock Lesnar. Yeah, there you go. Ben, I can't pronounce his last name, but he's the tight end for the Chicago Bears. I think in this game he has a pretty good matchup, 2,800, very cheap. If he can give me, I don't know, 4 reception, 30 yards, I'll be happy because it'll allow me to pay up for every other position.
All right,
it's a sick call when you can't even pronounce his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Extra sick.
It's extra sick. All right, so my sick call is going to be the quarterback, Mitch Trubisky. I think everyone's going to be on Drew Brees. Everyone's going to be on Matt Ryan. Everyone's going to be on Dak Prescott. If you play Mitch Trubisky, I know he's got a very low floor and not a very high ceiling, but he's super cheap. He's only 5.3. You can pay up for the Michael Thomases and Alvin Kamars of the world. And he's not terrible. I mean, he's been playing decently of late. He does have rushing upside. I think, let me pull his points up here. So, yeah, his last game against the Giants, he had 20.9. Then he had a bad game against the Rams, but against the Lions, he had a 19-point game. So he has the upside there to at least get a decent game for you. And then also, obviously, let you pay for some other guys that can definitely break the slate. So Mitch Trubisky is my sick call of the week. All right, we're going to start this new segment here for Thanksgiving. We're going to go around and we're all going to give a player that we are thankful for in our season-long leagues. And Ryan, we'll go to you first. Who are you thankful for in your season-long leagues?
I was originally going to go with Lamar Jackson because I have him on a bunch of teams, and I waited on him. But I decided to pivot away from my Ravens on this. I'm going to go DJ Moore. He's somebody I was really high on all season. He's been right outside the top 12 wide receiver just because he hasn't had the touchdown production yet. Finally blew up this week. I think he's an absolute superstar. We've gotten late. The bye window's closed. And I think he's one of my favorite players to own right now.
All right, good stuff. And he finally got touchdowns this past weekend. He had 2 of them after not getting much. Yeah, he had a humongous game. So, yeah, I like that. I like that one a lot, DJ Moore. All right, Gerson, who do you got for your who are you thankful for in your season-long leagues?
I have to explain why I'm thankful for him, but...
Waterville, baller, shot caller, 20-inch blade on an Impala, caller.
Darren Waller, because I was allowed to sell him at the right time and made a big trade with in my dynasty to get Alvin Kamara. So I was able to get a top 3 running back by selling him. And I think Patrick Mahomes and Miles Sanders for Kamara. I think the quarterback was Russell Wilson, and then someone else. I can't even remember. But even just Kamara and Wilson alone to me was mind-blowing happy for me, Downgraded a little bit at quarterback, but overall I got him in a lot of season long, and he allowed me to get a lot of flexibility in trade. But overall, he was an MVP at the beginning of the season for me, so... But yeah.
Yeah, so you got all the value early on, and you sold him before you kind of fell off. That's perfect timing.
I learned from Ryan. As soon as you can.
Good stuff. All right, Tim, what about you? Who are you thankful for?
It kills me to say it, but it's Dak Prescott. I had him as my yeah, it does. This year I waited on quarterback. I waited a little bit too long, and I didn't think there were a lot of good options available, so I drafted 2 quarterbacks, which I usually won't do. The other one I drafted was Ben Roethlisberger. So I obviously, when he got hurt and he was on IR, I was kind of stuck with Dak one way or the other. But he's obviously played really well. I mean, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the league for a good stretch there for obviously he was bad against the Patriots, but I expected that. But yeah, man, he's kind of kept my season-long team alive. So yeah,
good stuff, man. Yeah, because no one even thought Dak was a top 10 quarterback coming into the season, but I think he's top 3 or top 4 right now.
I did.
Oh yeah. Okay, guys. Okay.
I'll show you.
I have it on a spreadsheet. I had
all right. Well, that's why I have y'all on the podcast, because y'all are better than most of the other experts out there. So good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I took him 4 rounds after people were taking guys like Baker Mayfield and stuff like that. So I felt like not only was it a great value, but I mean, I thought he would do well this year, but I didn't think he was top 5 status. So definitely thankful that he turned out pretty well.
Can I say one more player I'm thankful for?
Yep.
Okay, I'm thankful for. I mean, he plays for the San Francisco 49ers. He's 6'4", 6'3", 200. Okay, Jeff Lambert.
Yeah.
I really am thankful for you, man. You always make this podcast fun. I mean, I know sometimes you have family stuff and whatnot, but no matter what, you always try to put on a show for the people. And overall, doing the podcast with you, listening to your season-long podcast with Ryan, it's always a blast. And I really am thankful for you, bud.
All right, man. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate y'all 3 as well. I'm definitely thankful for y'all 3 that y'all want to spend an hour of your day with me on the podcast each week. So I appreciate that.
An hour if we're lucky.
Yeah. Like an hour and a half, hour 45. Fair enough.
Sorry.
All right, so what I'm thankful for, so I got 2. One of them is super easy. Obviously, it's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, how could you not? This guy's been a beast all season. He's carrying my dynasty team, so he's kind of the easy one. The other one that I have is a little bit more difficult, but coming into the season in my dynasty league, I had Cam Newton and Jimmy Garoppolo as my quarterbacks. I'm thinking I'm okay with Cam starting, getting top 10 production. Jimmy G can fill in on the bye week. Obviously, Cam gets hurt, goes on IR. I'm like looking at Jimmy Garoppolo like I don't want to put him in for the rest of the season. So I activate off my taxi squad Mr. Kyler Murray, and I activated him at the right, perfect time. He came out, I forget which game it was, he came out and he had a huge game, and he's been a top quarterback ever since. He saved my league. Currently 11-1 right now in that league, and I got the number 1 seed headed into the playoffs. And Kyler Murray's a big reason why, because if I didn't have Kyler Murray, I'd be playing, I don't even know, I'd be playing like the Tannehill or Mariota or something. So Kyler Murray definitely.
Is this the famous Blake Bortles league?
This is the famous Blake Bortles league, yes. I'm the quarterback jinx. Yeah, so just to go kind of, those of you haven't watched the show for a while, this is the league I drafted Blake Bortles after his huge season. Obviously, he was terrible from there on out. I then traded for Derek Carr in his MVP almost season where he got hurt. I traded for him, then he got hurt immediately after that. During the offseason, I traded for Jameis Winston, who then just proceeded to have his career worst season the next year. Then I traded for, there was one more quarterback that I got that ended up
Cam
being
Newton?
Yeah,
I know you had Cam in there.
Yeah, I have Cam too, but there was someone after Jameis Winston that I had that I don't have anymore that was terrible too. I basically get quarterbacks and I ruin them. So and then Cam Newton this year, obviously, I had Cam Newton as my starter.
You're Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Jeff Fisher of fantasy football right now. So if you own Kyler Murray and you're going into your playoffs, be warned. I got him in my starting lineup this week, so be warned about Kyler Murray. So far, so good though. All right, Tim and Gerson, I appreciate y'all coming on tonight. I know we typically do the Friday night show. Got this DFS thing knocked out. Unfortunately, there won't be a Friday show like I mentioned, so we can't cover the main slate. But we got some DFS talk in here, and I'm sure I'll be talking to y'all in the group chats. Before we let you go, though, so tell us where we can find you at. Tim, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, we'll have every week. We'll have a breakdown in the DFS Roundtable, aka the Fantasy G podcast group on Facebook. And if you also have any questions, you can hit me on Twitter at KetoDFS.
Good stuff. And Gerson, where can we find you at?
I just want to put this in a note in the history book. This is the fastest podcast we ever done in DFS. Anyway,
it's a 3-game slate.
3 games?
Don't rub it in. You can find me at the Fantasy G podcast / DFS Roundtable Facebook group, and Twitter, the Fantasy G Pod. Yeah, you can find me there, but mostly I'm on Facebook mostly, man. I'm always there.
All right, good stuff. Appreciate you guys coming on tonight. We'll take a commercial break, guys. When we come back, me and Ryan will continue on here with our season-long podcast and knock out the rest of the games Gerson and Tim, thank you for coming on, and I'll be talking to you.
Peace.
Pack up.
In the unpredictable world of fantasy sports, when all hope seems lost and chaos and confusion rule, one hero will rise. And change everything. Going for two.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Me and Ryan are going to finish out the podcast here with some of the rest of these games here, and then we're actually going to give our own forgotten player this week. We typically give the guest a chance to do it, so this week we'll do our own forgotten player as well. And at the end of the podcast, I saved our game for last. We'll do a quick preview of the game this week, the Ravens and Niners. Obviously a huge game this week, so let's go ahead and kick it off here with the Titans and the Colts, Ryan. And the first question I have here is Tannehill a QB1 for the rest of the season? He's been so far.
Man, it's looking that way. The rest of the season looks pretty solid. I mean, he has the Colts this week, followed by the Raiders, Texans, Saints in the playoffs, which aren't bad matchups at all, and should be games that's going to force him to pass. If I'm just a guy who's streaming a quarterback and I don't have a guy as a lock, I feel pretty comfortable with it, the way he's been playing.
Yeah, I actually plugged him into my lineup last week. I had, like I said, I mentioned I have Jimmy Garoppolo and I have Kyler Murray. Murray's on a bye. Garoppolo, even though he ended up having a decent game, I didn't really like the matchup, so I plugged in Tannehill, and of course, he went out and had 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns and basically killed it for my team, so I definitely liked Tannehill.
I'd feel much better about him than my QB in the Go for 2 league going into the playoffs.
Yeah, who's your QB in that league?
I don't have one right now. I don't have a starting quarterback right now. Mason Rudolph was my last quarterback, so I've had 2 go down for injury, but somehow squeaked in.
Ugh, terrible. All right, so let's go to the next game. Let's pick this game. Who do you got? Titans at Colts. Who you got?
I have the Colts.
Colts?
At home.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to go Colts at home, too. I think it's going to be a very good game. This is obviously a division game here, so I think that it could be pretty good. And the Titans have looked good with Tannehill under center there, and they're making a run for the playoffs. But Colts are at home. I think they're still good enough to beat the Titans, so they get this one. Jets at Bengals. And Robbie Anderson, as I mentioned earlier, finally had his breakout game. I actually called it on the podcast last week for DFS. He was my sick call of the week. I've been basically knocking those out of the park all year. But Robbie Anderson had a big week. Is he startable this week?
Yes, I love Robbie Anderson the rest of the season. I'm starting this week myself. I think he's a big play threat. They have a great schedule for the rest of the year. Great schedule this week. And, I mean, the Bengals haven't been able to cover anybody.
Yep, good point.
And I think it's a fantastic matchup. It looks great the rest of the way through. Him and Darnold are really starting to click together. That beginning of Darnold's start was just a blip. I mean, he was coming off injury. He's the youngest quarterback in the league. It's going to take time, and I think they're looking the right way.
Good stuff. Let me give you the scenario that I just had earlier with my team. So I'm benching Galladay, but I got to start Robbie Anderson, Darius Slayton, or Curtis Samuel. Are you going with Robbie Anderson in that scenario?
Yeah. I am. Like I said, I think he's one of the more talented guys for especially big play potential, big game potential.
All right, good stuff. I think I'm going to be putting him in my lineup this week. All right, so let's move to the next. Let's go ahead and pick this game. Jets at Bengals. Who you got?
I guess the Jets.
Yeah.
Neither team's really good, but I think the Bengals are on a collision course with poor Joe Burrow. And first overall pick, I don't think they want to do anything about it.
I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go with the Bengals at home, with the Jets coming off a huge high. We heard the story about Darnold and his after the game antics. I guess he took some girl home from a bar, and his friend, his teammates were trying to keep him from doing anything stupid because he was drunk. But I think that they come into this game off this really serious high and lose this game in Cincinnati.
I feel like that's what all players do after every game.
I agree. They made a big issue of it, though.
I don't understand.
I know. I was like, if that was me, I'd be doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Isn't that, other than being rich, isn't that the point of being a pro athlete?
Exactly.
Especially a single one in New York. I mean,
100% agree. All right, the next game on the docket is the Redskins at the Panthers, and I have no notes for fantasy on this game at all, so let's just pick this one and move through it. Who do you got? Redskins at Panthers.
Panthers, and DJ Moore's the only note you need.
Yeah,
and obviously McCaffrey.
Yeah, Panthers for me as well. I mean, you're starting who you're going to start. Obviously, you know who's going to be. There's just nobody that needs to be talked about. Moving on to the next game, we got the Bucks at the Jags. The Jags' passing offense looked terrible last week, but a good cure for passing offense is the Bucks secondary. Can you start DJ Shark or Westbrook this week against this terrible secondary?
Yeah, those guys are getting a ton of volume right now, and we're looking at a secondary that is in the bottom third of the league right now. I think you can definitely start them, and I mean, don't feel fantastic. I'm not looking for wide receiver 1 performances, but I think you can get wide receiver 2 out of Shark and flex performances out of the others.
Yep, I agree. I think that this is going to be a game where they're going to sort of have a pretty good game that you could definitely start them this week. And if you've been starting them all week, go ahead and start them again this week.
I'm starting to feel a little bit better about Conley than Westbrook, though.
Okay, all right.
He's got 7 targets in back-to-back games now, and he's been second team in targets. I like the way that's trending for him, and he's a guy who has big play potential, which he's getting the volume now. All it takes is one with him.
Good stuff. All right. Let's move on to the Browns at Steelers, and of course it's the rematch of the helmet game. And my question is Baker startable this week? I mean, he's been pretty good the past few weeks, but the Steelers' defense is pretty good. If you have Baker, are you starting him this week?
Preferably not. I mean, Pittsburgh is third against the pass on football, or fourth on Football Outsiders against the pass, and they get a ton of turnovers. Baker's still turnover pro. I know he's prone. I know he's looking better, but I don't trust him now when there's still some pretty good matchups, even when you have like someone like Foles playing the box, which is a phenomenal matchup. I'd feel more comfortable with that than Baker.
Yeah, I think it really depends on who you have on your team and how deep your league is. But I think if I've got any better options, like you mentioned, Foles, I think I'm starting Foles over Baker this week as well. I think that defense is really good, and it's the reason that the Steelers are still winning games. So, yeah, definitely going to go with somebody else besides Baker this week. All right, let's go ahead and pick this one. Who you got, Browns at Steelers?
I have the Browns. I think they're clicking right now, and Steelers are just kind of lost. Did you hear Tomlin said about the QB switch?
No, I didn't hear.
It was something like, why'd you switch him? He's like, he didn't lose the game. He hasn't lost games for us. Like, that's all he said.
Really?
It did not sound confident.
Wow, I did not hear that at all.
It was bad. I should have the exact quote brought up, but it is not something I feel good about.
Wow. All right. I think I'm going to go Browns as well, actually. I know I really want to take the Steelers here at home, and I know I need to sort of be contrarian to you, but I think the Browns are playing good enough right now, and I think the Steelers, like you said, they are kind of a mess. They're injured. They're on their third-string quarterback, and I just don't see how they can pull this one out. So Browns as well for me. All right, the next one is Packers at Giants. And my question to you is, if you need this game to get into the playoffs and you have Saquon Barkley on your team, are you starting Barkley if you got a guy like, say, Jonathan Williams on your team or a Ronald Jones that's been pretty good over the past few weeks? Because Barkley has not looked good ever since back from that injury.
I am. It's partially being stubborn, partially just knowing what you can get out of Saquon Barkley. His receiving ability he has to click with that offense, and it takes a little bit of time. And he's one of the most talented players in the entire league. It's just a matter of time before he breaks back out. And the Giants are going to have to pass the ball. And with the Packers pass rush, it should lead to a bunch of dump offs, which would be good for Barkley.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I think you drafted Barkley. You're going to just go down with the ship basically, and
you can't bench him.
Yeah, you just can't bench him. Don't get cute. Put Barkley in there. Even a bad game is still better than some people's good games. So I think Barkley is still someone you're going to play. All right, let's go ahead and pick this game. Packers at Giants. Who you got?
Packers.
Packers here too. I think that loss this past weekend, they're going to come out hot. So definitely Packers for me. Eagles at Dolphins. I got no fancy notes here as well. You're starting who you're going to start. There's no really, you start Eagles defense obviously against the Dolphins. You're probably starting Devontae Parker. Eagles, I don't know who you're starting in that game really. I mean, Ertz obviously, but after that maybe it's a little bit tough. But no notes here. Let's go ahead and pick this game. Who do you got? Eagles at Dolphins.
Eagles.
Yep, Eagles as well for me. Move on to the next game. Rams at Cardinals. And the question is any of the Cardinals running backs startable this week? I mean, they got Kenyon Drake, they've got David Johnson, and obviously Chase Edmonds now looks healthy. They might have a three-man show back there. Are you starting any of these guys this week?
If I had the choice, it'd probably be Kenyon Drake. I think he's healthy. He looked fantastic in the offense. I mean, everybody who's ran there has. But these guys are both coming off injuries. I don't know if David Johnson's healthy yet, or if he's or if he's washed. He looks bad. He doesn't look explosive. And Chase Edmonds is just getting back. Yes, they're going to spread it out, but we see a team, the Rams, that just got gashed in the run game.
Yep.
Especially with the running quarterback in there that opened up everything for the runners. I think it could be another huge running performance. You may be able to start two of those guys. It's just seeing who's looking good on the medical reports out of DJ and Edmonds.
All right. Who are you picking in this game?
I'm going to pick the Cardinals. I changed from what it was. I think the Rams got embarrassed, and that was my original thoughts, but they really struggled against the running quarterback.
Yep.
And they're facing another running quarterback.
Ryan, me and you have been on the podcast too long because we're starting to think alike because I'm the same way. I think I picked the Cardinals as well. I'm going to have to go back and change some picks just to be different if I want to catch you at all, but I think the Cards get this game against the Rams. The Rams will look terrible. And actually, if the Rams lose this game and the Niners happen to beat your Ravens, we secure a playoff berth. So I'm hoping that they do end up losing this game. But, I think the Cards get this one. All right, next one is Chargers at Broncos. And again, no notes for this game. It's pretty much play who you're going to play. You're starting Sutton. Obviously, Keenan Allen you're starting. You're probably starting both running backs for the Chargers. Let's go ahead and pick it, though. What do you got? Chargers at Broncos?
Chargers.
I'm going to go with the Broncos in this one.
You go the Broncos?
Yeah, I'm going to go Broncos on this one. But go ahead and give me your Chargers reason. Why are you going Chargers?
I think both teams are bad, but I think Chargers have a little more talent, especially at the quarterback position. There's rumors Derwin James might be back, which could be a boost to their defense. So I'm going Chargers.
All right, I'm going to go Broncos here at home. They've been actually pretty decent. They've been losing a lot of games, but they've been hanging in there. I think their defense is pretty good. Rivers looks like he's been washed. I think he's pretty much done, so I think the Broncos get this one at home. Raiders at Chiefs. Obviously, going into the bye week, the Chiefs' biggest question was Tyreek Hill. If he plays this week, are you just going to fire him up as usual, or are you worried about a re-injury with his hamstring injury?
I'm firing Tyreek Hill up. One play he can be a top 10 scorer. He's the most dynamic player at the wide receiver position. And if he's in there, you have to start him. That threat of that three catches, 160 yards, 2 touchdown game, I'm not turning that down.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tyreek Hill, you got him, you starting him. I think that's, like you said, he's one play away from basically hitting his ceiling. So Tyreek Hill, if he's in, start him and hope he doesn't get hurt again. So you have him for the playoffs. Pats at Texans. Oh, let's go ahead and pick this game. Chiefs at Raiders. Are you going to go Chiefs?
Chiefs, but closer than we think.
Yeah, I agree. I think division game, I think it'll be a little bit tough, but Chiefs get this one as well. Pats at Texans, another good game. Are any of the Pats players relevant in fantasy anymore? I mean, we got some guys. I mean, even Julian Edelman has kind of had some down games. Their running backs are splitting carries so much that none of them are worth it. You got a bunch of injured guys now. Tom Brady's not playing very well either. Are any of these guys startable?
I think Edelman is this week. Is Sanu out or no?
They haven't said for sure yet, but it's not looking good for him.
I say if he's in, maybe. I like N'Keal Harry's a chance. I think he's got upside, and I don't think the Texans' pass defense is very good at all. So I think Brady could take advantage of for a pretty big game. Week in, week out, no. This week, yeah.
All right. And the last game that we have before we get to the Ravens-49ers game is the Vikings.
Oh, pick it.
Oh, pick it. Yeah, go ahead, pick it. Pats, Texans, who you got?
Texans with the upset at home.
Oh, I like it. I'm going Pats here. I think the Pats are just even though they don't look very good offensively, they're going to do good enough here to beat the Texans. So Pats for me. All right, the next game is the Vikings at the Seahawks. Again, nothing to talk about here. Start who you always start. Let's go ahead and just pick this game. Vikings at Seahawks. Who do you got, Ryan?
The Seahawks. Russ is runner-up for MVP right now. He's playing lights out ball.
Who's your favorite?
I mean, we're about to talk about it. I need to talk about it, but it's a very close race for both of them for me. I think the rushing gives Lamar a little bit of an edge, but I think it's really close. Russ has been unbelievable.
I'm going Vikings more for my heart than it is for actually believing that they're going to beat the Seahawks, but I need the Seahawks to lose a game so that we can hopefully get this division win. But Vikings definitely going to give them a run for their money for sure. But being in Seattle is going to be tough to win in that stadium. All right, we got to the game, the 49ers at the Ravens this week, and we'll kind of break this down like a general sort of breakdown. We'll go by position here. Starting at quarterback, Ryan, talk about Lamar Miller a little bit.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. I'll do that every time.
Don't disrespect my boy about like that. I mean, right now, Lamar is tied for the league in passing touchdowns. He's RB7 on his own or something like that in fantasy, not counting his passing skills.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. And he's doing everything he can. I don't know what else you can say about him other than he's playing like the MVP, and he's on pace for 1,200 rushing yards and 3,300 passing right now with 30. I think it's 30 total touchdowns.
Yep,
it's ridiculous. I mean, he's playing like the best player in football. I don't know if he is, but he's playing that way.
Yep, yeah, he definitely looks good for sure. Jimmy Garoppolo on the other side did the exact opposite. He makes me nervous whenever he drops back to pass. I mean, he's a turnover machine. He makes bad decisions. He pump fakes the ball. He's got happy feet. I think he's our weakness. He will be our downfall if we do lose this game. I think that if Ravens can get some pressure on him, he is one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure as far as finding guys. He's just thrown all his interceptions on pressure, on blitzes. So I think the Ravens will blitz him a lot this week. I think the Ravens are the number one team as far as blitzes go, as percentage-wise. So
yeah, they blitz like 40 or 50% of all plays.
Yeah.
They bring it from everywhere. They were doing corner blitzes last week. I mean, Jimmy Smith had a sack against oh god, my brain just stopped, against Goff.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a dual corner sack with him, or blitz with him and Marcus Peters. They're going hard after it from everywhere.
Yep, and that's why I'm really worried. We got to get that running game going. Hopefully Breida's back. We need Breida in that game. So let's go ahead and talk about the running backs. Talking about Breida, go ahead and talk about your backfield there for the Ravens.
Our second leading rusher right now is Mark Ingram. Lamar, and he's been playing lights out. He caught a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown last week. He caught for one. They're feeding him often. He's the hammer between the tackles. He's going to get 15, 20 touches every single game. I love what he's doing. I think he has RB2 potential against you guys this week. And I think Gus Edwards will still get a nice volume of carries because Baltimore's going to try to get ahead early, and if they get a lead, run the ball a lot.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of our game plan too, I think, is to hopefully get a lead and just run the ball. Obviously, we have a pretty good run offense ourselves.
We're 1-2.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, and I think, though, we've kind of struggled a little bit the past few weeks with getting that rushing game going, and I think it has to do with some injuries. People underestimate the value of George Kittle in that offense as a blocker. We finally got Juszczyk back. He's a good blocker as well. I think with that offense, the way they designed it, they need those two guys in there. Hopefully they're both in there, both healthy. We get Breida back, and we can actually run the ball a little bit because we need it. Because if we rely on Jimmy Garoppolo in this game, we're not going to win. There's just no way. So, yeah.
I am worried we did lose our center for the season in Matt Skura.
Wow.
He tore his ACL this week.
Jeez.
And we have an undrafted free agent who came in at halftime. He played very well, but it's still something to take note of. And like you said, tight ends are huge blocking for Baltimore. We run more 3 tight end sets than anybody. And Boyle is pure blocking. Hayden Hurst, a lot of blocking. And Patrick Ricard, who's our fullback, is a 300-pound blocking fullback. Like they're just trying to pound the ball.
Yep. They got that. They're kind of built the same way we are offensively, except for the quarterback position, of course. All right, let's talk about the receivers now. I know receivers basically is one guy. I guess we saw Snead this week finally show up, but it's been a lot of Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, it's Hollywood Brown. He's second most targeted guy on the team. He has 6 touchdowns already for missing 2 games, which is pretty impressive for being a smaller receiver, which I didn't really expect out of him. Lamar trusts him. He went to him 3. He had 3 end zone targets. He had the one that was dropped, just thrown a little bit off.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he could have had 3 touchdowns last week. He's had multiple 2-touchdown games. I mean, he's 519 yards right now. He's averaging 14 yards a catch. They're starting to force him the ball. It's great. I think he's the receiver to start in fantasy. Anything else is kind of crapshoot. If you're looking for a desperation play in DFS, maybe like a Seth Roberts or Willie Snead, but it's no one I'd feel real confident about.
Yeah, I think Hollywood Brown is playing, they had that comp before the season of Tyreek Hill, and I think he's kind of playing that role where he's that big play guy down the field for Lamar. You kind of cheat up to stop the run, and they're going to beat you over the top with Hollywood Brown. So as far as our receivers go, we've been struggling all year. We've been rotating guys in and out, trying to find a good combination. I think Sanders, if he's healthy, is probably our best option. He gets open, quite a bit. Debo has come on of late. Obviously, he had that nice touchdown last week for 42 yards. He's a big play guy. And, George Kittle, even though he's a tight end, plays basically a receiver position as well. But after that, you got guys like Goodwin wasn't even active last week. Pettis can't get on the field. Bourne seems to be our red zone guy. He seems to get targeted a lot in the red zone, but even he has an issue with drops. So I think if we're, sort of giving the edge to who, I think we give the edge to your team because you guys at least have some good hands and can catch the ball. Our guys just can't seem to get open for Jimmy Garoppolo, so it's a tough matchup for sure with the Ravens.
Yeah, Debo's been playing very well. But
yeah, he's been a godsend because otherwise, it's been nobody other than Emmanuel Sanders doing anything.
Yeah, since we got Marcus Peters and Jimmy Smith back, the defense went from 26th in the league to 11th.
Yeah, they've been playing really, really good lately.
It's been a huge change. They play man coverage against everybody.
Yep. So go ahead and talk about the defense a little bit. What do you expect to see from the Ravens against this Niners team?
Very, very aggressive. They're going to blitz a lot, like we mentioned before. I'm a little worried about the tight end matchup. Our linebackers aren't super fast, even though we end up running a lot of nickel and dime defenses with bringing Chuck Clark up. But we have 2 guys who we picked up off the streets playing linebacker right now. They got picked up in free agency like week 7 or 8. So they haven't been on the team that long, but they're starting to play well. So that's, I think, the biggest weakness on the team is passing right up the middle.
And that's kind of our biggest strength.
Huge for Kittle.
Yeah, our biggest strength is with Kittle. And defensively, I think we want to try to contain Lamar Jackson as much as possible. We don't blitz much. Obviously we run basically a 4-man rush. We have blitzed a lot more lately, and we blitzed a lot against Seattle with Russell Wilson, trying to get to him quickly so he couldn't scramble around and make plays. I think if we had to pick our poison, though, I think we want Jackson in the pocket, trying to beat us with his arm as opposed to beat us with his legs. So we might have a spy on him to keep him in the pocket. It's going to be hard to do, but we got to find a way to keep him in the pocket because otherwise, if he becomes that dual threat, we're going to be on our heels all game long. So that's kind of our idea, I think, is to blitz sort of, unexpectedly blitz and get pressure with 4 guys. If we can do that, I think we got a good chance. All right, I guess we're not going to pick this game because obviously you're going Ravens, I'm going 49ers in this one, so we won't pick this game. But because we have no guests tonight, we're going to go ahead and do our Forgotten Player. We're both going to give one.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, let's go to you first. What you got for your Forgotten Fantasy Player this week?
All right, he's not as obscure as a lot of guys who've been on there, and I really wanted to go obscure and kind of super weird, but I had to go with probably my favorite fantasy player ever. I started playing early 2000s when I was in high school, and I swear I drafted this dude 2nd round 3, 4, 5 years in a row. Like, he's always on my team. He's won me championships. That's Torrey Holt.
Nice.
I used to go running back receiver every single year I played fantasy football, and he was always my receiver. I mean, this dude had 1,600-yard season, 13, 13, 16, 13, 13, 11, 11. He balled every year for the Rams on that Greatest Show on Turf. He was consistent. He always caught 80 to 90 balls. He's like an earlier age Michael Thomas, the way he was getting volume and how consistently he got it. He has my Hall of Fame vote this year. He's in my Fantasy Football Hall of Fame. I love the dude. And I'll say he's probably my favorite fantasy football player of all time.
Yeah, I love that call because I actually had a lot of Torrey Holt, too, back in those days. The Greatest Show on Turf, man. They were just...
they were unbelievable. He caught everything.
Yep, he was awesome. I loved having him. All right, so I'm going to take us all the way back to 2005. And I picked up this running back, literally the pick right before defense and kicker. And one of my guys in my league talked a lot of trash. He was saying this guy's not any good. He's a third string running back, which he was at that time, third string running back. He was playing behind Deuce Staley and Jerome Bettis at this time, and they both got hurt in the preseason. And I had kind of read that. This is before before Roto World and all that. You had to basically go to each website and read camp notes, and I read camp notes saying that this guy was going to get the start in week 1, and he actually looked really good in camp. And that's Mr. Fast Willie Parker. Ironically, the guy who talked all that trash when I drafted him in the draft, I played him in week 1, and I started Willie Parker in that week, and he went out there and had 22 rushes for 161 yards and a touchdown, and also had a 48-yard catch as well. I won that matchup, went on that season to win my league. For that year, he had 1,200 total yards, 4 touchdowns, and a touchdown receiving as well. And Fast Willie Parker, I mean, like I said, I got him in the very last round before kickers and defense, and he was supposed to be nothing. Ended up being my RB2 all season long, and I think he's been kind of forgotten about because everyone thinks about Jerome Bettis and how good he was, but no one thinks about Willie Parker and those few good seasons that he had as a fantasy player.
Oh, dude, I remember him very well, mainly because I'm stuck here in Pittsburgh with Steelers fans. But yeah, man, he was great for a little bit there. He was a big part of their Super Bowl run too.
Yep,
Yep,
definitely. He will have a special place in my heart. And Matt Porter, if you're watching, you're the one that was talking shit in that league that time, and I'm sure you remember that. Started him against you that first week. Call him out. All right, Ryan, let's go around and talk about where we can find you at.
Find me on Twitter, Ryan Searfoss at FancyFBConnect. Find me here every Tuesday on the Armchair Show. Find me at the Dynasty Draft Room. I have an article coming out where I'm ranking the top 5 Devy players coming from LSU this week at some point. But yeah, I'm everywhere you can be found. Facebook, Twitter, wherever. I'm there.
Right. Good stuff. Like I said, guys, no Friday show. We will return next Tuesday after Thanksgiving and do our regular Tuesday show. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. You find me on Facebook in multiple Facebook groups. And, of course, here every Tuesday and Friday night. That's a wrap.